episode 3 of Talk of the Gods. As you can see, I have not aged about 5 plus 10 plus years, so I'm not Shifu, and Simbreed's not Shifu either. So it's just your boy, myself, a Comcast employee, and Shifu he had some stuff come up, so he wasn't able to be here. So instead, we have my man Simbreed. Simbreed, how you doing today, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah.
So I wasn't here last week because I had to go home, talk to my mom. It was really fun. I enjoy family.
Same
Family
here.
first, guys. And so I can't give really a recap. So what did you guys talk about, just for all the viewers? What did you guys talk about last week?
Well, we will talk about how your interesting interview with Adonis went, and some gauntlet stories that me and Shifu had, and what we thought about that, and patch notes and like dev show and all that juicy stuff.
Yeah, so it's my understanding that kudos to High Res for getting a patch out on time. We actually had a patch. Was it yesterday or the day before or
2 days ago, I think.
2 days ago? We got ourselves a patch, which I mean, I guess. Well, let's just kind of talk about the changes that were implemented, and like let's kind of quickly scan over it, because soon we're actually going to be interviewing Mezagil, if I said that right, the second HRX qualifier tournament winner. I mean, that'll be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So stay tuned. But first, again, we're just gonna quickly go through it. So, Cursed Dragon Norse. Like I said, I actually wasn't able to experience this patch a lot because I've been really busy with school. So, Simbreed, tell me how Cursed Dragon has been.
I actually haven't seen it yet.
You haven't?
I
Okay.
no, and as many of you may know, I do not like Norse Pantheon. I do not like playing Norse Pantheon. I do not like facing
Yeah,
parts of
man, you
the
and me
game.
both. You and me both.
So I have not seen it, but I'm a bit interested in to see how it plays out with like a mid-range strategy or a control strategy. But as of now, I haven't seen it on ladder or anything yet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw a little bit of the gameplay with it on the actual official Hand of the Gods stream, which is now 24/7. So if you guys want to see 24/7 Hand of the Gods action, you may want to check out there. I saw some being played, and like I think that seven. Like I was gonna say, on initial impression, this unit seems really busted, but again, like I haven't had a whole lot of play experience with it, but I do know that like it was just in the gameplay I was seeing, it seemed like it wasn't to the point of like where the Hydras were. So then we got Fafnir. So have you experienced any Fafnir? Sure, you've experienced Fafnir on ladder.
I actually just before we went live with the show, I actually got beat by the Unheavenly Seraph playing it, and it seemed very strong.
Well, anyways, we're gonna expedite things a little bit. And Mez, you're with us live, right?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So, baby, how has your Friday been?
I've been happy the entire week after the qualifier.
I can't imagine who'd possibly, because like you put up good showing consistently in tournaments, and obviously winning one of them is a really nice, not only achievement, but it's like you have yourself a golden ticket to HRX. Isn't that like awesome?
Yeah, of course. Like it's a trip to America as well. That's gonna be amazing.
Oh, wait. So what country are you in currently then? Because
So it's like the first time I leave Europe. I've been in Russia, but never outside
oh,
of Europe. So
I'll tell you right now, when you come down to Georgia, because that's where the HRX qualifiers are at, you're gonna have a lot of fun, and I'll show you a good time. I promise. I promise. Okay.
Do not hang with Comcast; it's a trap.
so we got a couple questions lined out for you. So do your best to answer them, I guess. So in the second qualifiers, right? Who do you think you had a hard time facing? Like, were there any matchups you were just dreading, and that obviously you're able to get through, but like, I guess what were the tough matchups for you?
I mean, I felt like I prepared for the meta really well, but when I was in the grand finals and watching the stream, and Bubbles was just piling through everyone from the start, I was scared of facing him. So I was kind of happy when he lost in the Stoof.
Yeah, like like the losers bracket was actually very very heated, and it was enjoyable to see. Again, I guess why I love the HRX qualifiers because you do have this pile through of players like who are new and old alike, but you see a lot of these old faces kind of show up because this is arguably more stable and almost more balanced of a tournament setup because you do get that second wind chance, right? So it is very very interesting to see like these players like, oh, they lost, but they're gonna come back and they're plotting through the losers bracket. So, what kind of decks did you run to help you win? I mean, this is kind of obvious, but like, I guess what were your strongest decks you felt for this tournament or for that tournament?
Was always banned, and the only two decks I really won with was Odin and Ra. Like myself did really poorly in that tournament actually. Like even though I won it, I think it was like 0-2. Like I didn't bring it that much. So only Odin and Ra was what won me the game tournament.
So,
Okay.
I guess what about your Odin deck do you think made it so potent?
A lot more consistent than other Odin decks since I run more draw. I run both Behemoths and the Nakamura on top of it, and it never has bad games, and it can both outvalue and outaggress. So if you know how to pilot it, it's really really strong.
Yeah, I want to quickly talk about what you were just saying there. If you know how to pilot it, I think that's a really key kind of word and like term because a lot of the times like, you have people on my stream say, "Hey, Comcast, give me your deck," and I'm like, I can't really do that because like my decks have my certain flair. So on that note, do you think you have a certain kind of flair about how your decks play? Because again, like my decks, I can't really describe it, but I use like a lot of the I guess unforeseen utility cards, and I grab my opponent that way. So I guess like again, like what was your type of flair?
I mean, it's different from deck to deck, but from in that
Yeah.
Odin deck, it's kind of hard to figure it out because some games you need to be really aggressive, and some games you
Yeah.
shouldn't touch the stone at all, like only focus on the board. So it's very different from game to game, and you need to practice it quite a bit. But like Odin is the deck I've been having most of success with in even in the fall circuit. So it's very similar to those lists.
So
Okay.
what? Like, yeah, wait, no, sorry. Somebody continue.
Thank you. Natalie, what were you actually doing after you got into the winners finals? Because there were like 6 hours for you before you got to play in the winners final, correct? Because the lower bracket was taking so long.
So quite a lot of things since it was such a long break. Like I took a walk and I made some food and I played some games to keep in it, and I played some other games to just keep like refresh the mind as well. And like at one point I got some popcorn and just watched the last couple of games getting ready. And then I got the sugar high for the actual final, so I got like candy and soda to get the sugar high for the actual games.
I think I was expecting a very monotonous response, like, oh, I was doing homework, or oh, I was doing some like other chore. But this like is like the sugar high. Thank you for that. I needed that today. That is hilarious. And I mean, hey, I mean, it worked. It did. You won. So I guess on that note, we've seen Hindu be not only very strong, like borderline broken, right? Especially in the past tournament before the most recent aspect of life. Actually, aspect of life is technically banned, but I think you get where I'm going with this. How it's just been a very very potent pantheon. So did like in your tournament run, did you go up against any Hindu pantheons or did you ban them out every time?
It out every time, and I got to play it in the first couple of rounds, but never later on. But on the Saturday tournament, I was trying to target it, but like you can definitely do that, but it's really hard to target it and still be good against other decks. So it's really hard to do in tournaments, but it's definitely viable. Like I didn't do poorly in that tournament, but yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So what did you do to target it? Like I guess did you run a certain did you, like run Divine Vengeance on Greek? Did you run like obviously you're running Annihilation, but like again, you get where I'm going with this question of like how did you target it like in Saturday or on Saturday?
On Saturday, I had an Odin list that didn't run anything above 5 HP, so I had double Nakon Warriors for draw, and then nothing, like I didn't run the Fire Giant, and that's basically the only things you need, like that are normal in Odin, so it's not that hard to make a deck that just doesn't have Kali targets. And then I
Yeah.
had then otherwise it was kind of standard. And then I had a Ra that was supposed to like really outvalue, go hard with like ISIS and stuff like that. But I did drop a game with the Ra against an Hindu, but otherwise most people avoided playing Hindu after the first game.
So, like on that note, why do you think Hindu was so powerful in the tournament? Like, obviously, we know like the each card value was extremely high, but like, were there certain combos that you just found that were just unwinnable against, or?
Well, Kali is really strong. Like it's double execute and you get good minions. So Kali is the main issue.
Yeah.
Like I think Pillar of Earth might need to be looked at because it's really frustrating mainly. Other than that, I think it's not as OP as most people think. I think, like in my opinion, but like it's really, like, as I said, it's not that hard to target, but it's really hard to target it and be good against other things.
Yeah, it's like I was even building like an on ladder anti Hindu deck, and when I was coming across this, sure it did well against Hindu, but in the event I didn't find Hindu, like it didn't do too hot. And on that note, in the tournament setting, yeah, like in a tournament setting, sure you can like ban Norse and try to bait out the Hindu, but at the end of the day, your opponent still decides when they play certain decks, and unless you're gonna gamble with what deck you're gonna bring in, it can become very difficult to try to run a extremely tech based anti certain Pantheon deck, right, and still perform well with it. So like again, you won, so congratulations there. But so obviously you're looking forward to HRX, but is there anything you're like looking forward to like coming to like a because you're in Europe, right? Yeah. So I guess in America, is there anything you're really excited to try out?
Sure, I haven't looked into it, but I'm open to suggestions. So
Well, I'll tell you, down here we got an awesome aquarium, we got the Coke Museum, but most importantly, we got the actual venue, which is going to be awesome. So since you won, you're out of the running to compete in the other tournaments, correct?
Yeah, you should be.
yes,
I
you
think.
didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who else would you like to see to win these qualifiers? Because obviously alongside you've got Etchang and you've got yourself, but I believe you have 6 more other people that are going to be coming down with you guys for the top 8.
5 because Potpie is also qualified since he
sure.
won in Russia. But like I'm expecting Bubbles and Stoof to make it through. Those are the ones. I think they're practice partners, and they've always been the people I've been facing in the finals and like semis are the main people. And Striker has been doing really well as well. So those 3 maybe.
I see those. I see those. I mean, obviously you guys know me. I'm saying Phaser and Unscathed right up here being a myth boy, but
It's also
I'm
Well,
rooting for
we
my
can
Swedish boy,
mention it.
Stuf.
wait, who are you ready for?
I'm rooting for Stuf as a fellow Swede.
Stu's been in the scene for such a long time. I remember his like a first initial Flashpoint alignment on Twitch, and I remember like seeing him competing in tournaments. I'm like, and just I think his veteranship makes him very likable, like player to watch, and his lot of support because like he's been seen forever. So massive kudos to that guy. So
Yeah.
Mez, real talk though, biggest question of the night, like of all the questions, this is the most important question, and you're gonna leave here saying, you know what, that was the most important question. How? No, I'm not saying like how. I'm talking about like the best. How do you pronounce your name the most perfectly? We need to know that. As casters, Simbri and I, we gotta get it on the target. So how do you pronounce it? Just like one time, clear the mics. How do you pronounce your name?
I say Messilgie, but it's not really that important, and Messi is always fine.
I think I go with Mess.
In
That's
depth, beautiful. Couldn't have asked for a better response. I'm kind of steaming up here. Whew, mess. So with the currently qualified players for the HRX qualifiers, how do you think you'll do against them? Ooh, kind of a spicy question here. So I guess currently it's Pot Pie and Etchang, but obviously tomorrow and on Sunday you'll have 2 more other competitors joining the ranks. So on that note, how do you think you're gonna do up against them?
I mean, they're both really good players, but I've been beating them when I've been facing them, I think. So I think I will do well.
I love that hint
Good
of confidence
response.
because it's a good response because obviously you want to show your opponent's respect, and just like in any competitive game, you wanna look out for the difficult variables, but at the same time, you're never gonna get anywhere without a little bit of confidence in you. You gotta have a little bit of moxie. So
Also,
I,
like Mez, you remind me a lot of Stoof when he bursted out on the scene. Like I saw you came out on like a couple of ESL tournaments, and I remember I was asking C4 if you were a Smurf or something, and if someone else had an account name or something, and you just like response no, and then you mute your microphone again. That was actually kind of funny, and I apologize for that.
No, it's not an issue like. But yeah, when I first came out, I was actually copying Stu's lists and then doing slight adjustments to them to my preference.
so obviously like you have a duelist background, right? I guess for all those who don't know, Mez has a duelist background. So I guess on that note, how was your experience in Duelist translated over to Hand of the Gods?
It's doing a lot of work. The positioning is a lot easier to learn coming from Duelist.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Because a lot of players from other card games, there this isn't that positioning element, so it makes it a lot easier, or like makes it a lot more difficult. Pardon. To learn the positioning, and like that's one thing I've always noticed is that your positioning is generally on point. Even like as a caster, like positioning is such a key element that a lot of players can mess up on sometimes. But I usually have very little critique, so kudos to yourself. So Simbri, you got any more questions for Mez or?
No, you stole my last question.
I did. Nani? Well, I think that's all we got for you. Wait, no, we got. Oh no, that is all we got for you. I apologize on that note. So Mez, thank you so much for dropping by. I appreciate, or we, especially at Smite Prime, we appreciate you coming by and open up your schedule a bit for some talk of the gods.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun. So
Yeah, and good luck at the HRX, man. I will see you there, Comcast as well.
yeah, thank you. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Alrighty then. So we're kind of moving on to the next segment where we're going to be going over the qualifiers. Now, I like to think about like what's the value in doing this? It's that not only can you predict the like tomorrow's qualifiers, but it also will help players who like are like on the cusp of winning and like making it. Is you have to analyze your opponents. So on that note, I think we got the brackets here. So Simbreed, were there any players that you thought like I guess right now we're looking at the at last Saturday's qualifiers. Were there any players who performed really well that you weren't expecting, or really poorly who you weren't expecting to perform that well?
Well, we have to highlight Incognito.
Yeah.
Like I have before this tournament, I had not heard of this guy, but I mean he put on a hell of a run, and he in the semifinals he got to beat out the Baconator, I believe. Yeah, so like just solidifying like any doubts that he's a good player and maybe got an easy bracket or anything like that. No, he made one hell of a run, and that's probably the guy I'm most impressed of.
Yeah, like he even beat up my boy Unscathed, and then even in the finals he showed a good showing. And that's something again like I love about this game is you have all these because of the game's because the game is still technically in its infancy. You got a lot of these new players who just like hop in, say, hey, I don't know this game, but I have a little bit of experience in other games. Let me try to compile that and get a good showing. That's exactly what they do. Like I kind of just like want to point out, I guess a lot of the older players like Baconator and even like Necker Payne. We've seen this guy like really perform in the past, like including last Sunday. He's been performing quite well, but I mean, obviously, Etchang did the best. So, you have any comments on Etchang's victory?
Well, I was a little surprised that Yisheng won the tournament. I know he's a very good player. He's been making some noise in the weekly cups and in the Smite Prime tournaments, but taking it down, like that's a little bit of surprise just because of the names that were in the tournament. I did not think it was going to be the first one, but I thought he had a chance. But yeah, huge congratulations to Ishang and just showing us that he is like worthy of being at HRX.
Yeah, speaking of names that'll immediately come to mind, I guess small little shout outs to people such as like You Can Call Me Al, Jinaru, and Jaya. Actually, I think a couple of them visit my stream a couple times. But cause again, like these players, like you don't really notice them. Like they've been doing well in other tournaments, but they've never been really getting to like that final stage, like that final boss. If you get what I mean. And then, but even like in these tournaments, we're seeing like they're going up against the old names and people who are literally like like winning the tournament. So on that note, it really is important I guess take a look at upcoming names, so maybe you can launch a little bit of predictions and see who's going to win the next tournaments.
Definitely, yeah, I totally agree.
So I guess on the first qualifier note, I want to quickly take a look at Echeng's deck. And these are actually Echeng's decks that he brought. So he brought Norse, Greek, and Hindu, and Egyptian. So I think what's kind of surprising here is this Greek play, which I mean I know it brought along with it a ton of racket and Twitch chat, and even like kind of rippled out throughout the entire community about, is Greek good? So I guess we're going to ask you the same question: is Greek good?
Definitely. Like, why would people not think it's good? I don't understand that. Like, they got 4 cards that are totally insane together with Artemis and Shock and Ave. And then you just put in, like, some removal spells and, like, basically the core package that you had before. And you have a great mid-range to late-game deck.
Now, one, I know you guys who are watching this probably can't see the deck list, but his deck list is like fairly as expected. But I guess a couple of key cards that you do and don't see is you do see a Poseidon, you do see a Marksman, and you don't see an Ares. Simbri, can you make sense of this for me?
Not really, no. I don't understand the Marksman, the one-off, actually, but like he double Brontes and double Arias for the card draw and a Fire Giant as his neutrals. I would probably just, if this was me, I would probably put in another Artemis because it's just running one, and and at least one Ares, just for that late game, get that stun on a key target, so you can lock it down for a turn, or maybe just kill it outright. That's basically what I would do, but I mean, Ishang made it work, so it has to be good.
Because like one of my favorite plays, actually, I absolutely just love to death doing is when you shock an all with an Ares. So you already pulled in a target. Your opponent plays another big unit, and this time you're like, I gotcha. So you bring him over. You slap him for that hefty 7 damage that Ares provides, and then you got the one of the unit you got to deal with. So like again, I find it kind of surprising. My only idea is maybe in the playtest, Echeng's found that he was like, I guess, up against Norse and Hindu a lot, so that Marksman did come in handy. Again, I guess one of these things I would love to ask Echeng why he has it in his deck, but overall, I mean, hey, he made it work. And I guess on the Poseidon note, like the Marksman, I think is really out there, but the Poseidon, I've been playing my decks multiple times, but I guess why do you think he put the Poseidon in this deck, Simbri?
Well, I think it's just to outgrind it, like in the mirror match, and like you can get some 2-for-1s with it against the Norse decks and stuff like that. If you because you're not gonna use your normal leader ability that much in the Norse matchup anyway, and if you have like a Sunder basically for 3 mana, like you're gonna use it when you had a chance, and it's going to be good.
Now, another card I'm actually surprised he doesn't pack in his Greek deck is Gladiator. You've seen a lot of people be packing Poseidon Gladiators. So if you can get that Gladiator on the field the second turn after Poseidon, you're now hitting for 1 mana and a massive block AoE of damage. So do you like? I guess if you were, would you take out the Marksman and put in Gladiator potentially? If this was your deck, of course.
No, probably not. I still would like an Ares and another Artemis in his list.
Yeah.
If it was me, like if you want Poseidon to work, you can still put it his ability to good use for 3 mana, and also it provides you with your opponent has to play differently as well.
Oh
So
yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
can,
I forgot about
if you
that.
can position yourself in a good way with your units, put pressure on the right tiles, then you can force your opponent to put stuff way back where they don't want them to be if it's against Norse, for example. So it can be very good still, even if you don't have gladiators.
Yeah, I actually didn't. It actually escaped my thought, but forcing your opponent to play differently, kind of similar to what the current Cursed Dragon does, is a very is very powerful utility that a lot of people don't even end up respecting a whole lot, and that's why I guess obviously this deck was able to pull off wins. So, like I mentioned before, Chang did bring Norse, and he also did bring Hindu, which I'm assuming got banned out most of the time.
Yeah, probably.
So, and then he also brought Egyptian. So we saw Egyptian get hit with the nerf hammer a bit, but do you think Egyptian is still where it needs to be?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I've been playing a lot of Egyptian myself on the ranked ladder, and I'm still feel like it doesn't really hurt him that much, and I think it's still a very very good deck. And as we saw in the tournament, people were having great runs with it. We saw Mess using it as well. We heard him say that he was using that and
Yeah.
is Odin most of the time. So yeah, it's still a very good deck.
So that's like that was like I highlighted Greek there because we don't see Greek like ever, so it's really interesting. Uh, I guess just to finish this up really quickly, Incognito, because like I want to go on to the second qualifier, but Incognito, because like you were just talking about how this player is like again he's kind of come out of nowhere. It's like bam, he's here, right? So obviously packing the Norse and the Greek and the Hindu, and he also packed the Chinese. Now this is a beast wall, so I don't really want to go over it that much, but when we look at Incognito's deck, right? Everything is looking pretty similar, but he has the Aphrodite. What do you like? Because Aphrodite did receive some changes, which I think have actually made her potentially worse. What do you think about the new Aphrodite?
Personally, I do not like her, but I mean, she has to have some value. I believe Stoof was running it as well, or someone else that was running Greek in their matchup and had one Aphrodite in there. I copied that list from someone really good. It might actually have been C4, actually.
Yeah, because Aphro is one of these cards that if you could activate her War Cry later in the game without shock and us, like you could like place an Afro down on turn 4, and then on turn 5 you could activate her War Cry if she's still on the board. I think it'd make her like 10 times better. It's just that not being able to go up against Stone really hurts the Norse matchup, I would say. So then he also packs 2 double Deicide. Now, if I'm correct, Cheng didn't pack Deicide, did he?
No, it did not. And I feel that this is just a response to basically that Raw has seen a decrease and it's almost useless against Norse. I would say just have Divine Vengeance instead, like 2 Divine Vengeance instead of the 2 Deicides would be an upgrade just because of how the meta was looking.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on ladder it does like I actually run 2 Deicides, which is nice because you're able to kill out those uh like those pesky even like if you need to Scotties or like whatever target you need to. But obviously Incognito did very well, so like I guess to all the players who are thinking about running these cards, it is definitely worthwhile to take a look at the predecessors winners, right? So then in the qualifiers too, uh, are there? I guess we're treating it the same. So we obviously Mez won, but were there any players that you were surprised at how they performed?
Tomuf, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
He made one of the like bigger runs as well. Had got knocked down by Mez in the winners finals, but got back up for the rematch, I believe, and
Yeah.
did not make it there either. But it was still a 2-1 both times, so he was giving Mez a fight for it.
Again, like this is like let's see some of the names that we were talking about before. Like Owl did pretty well in losers. And then actually Beelzebub making it pretty far. So Beelzebub is, if you guys don't know, he's been into the community for a very long time. But he did kind of I guess, fall back a little bit, like in terms of like winning tournaments and stuff. So, like obviously, with Beals winning, do you think that indicates that the meta has kind of come back to where it used to be more of, or do you think just Beals adapted to the meta?
Well, I think he just adapted because I believe he did
Yeah.
not do really good on the Saturday's tournament,
True.
but he might have changed some cards in his deck list, or he just brought another Pantheon maybe or something like that, and adapted basically to what he saw. And
Yeah.
yeah, he made a great tournament.
So now the I guess the treat of this tournament is we're like taking a look at Mez's decks. So obviously, this is a, multiple tournament winner and a like obviously in the HRX qualifier tournament winner. So he also packed Greek. Like so, and he's also packing Poseidon, and I think it's actually very similar to Etchang's, but he also packs the Phantom Grasp. Simbreed, why is he packing Phantom Grasp?
I actually really like Phantom Grass now when it's at 7 mana. So it's a lot cheaper, and you get to steal the biggest stuff that your opponent has, or their most important piece. So I would think that he was hoping to play against Egyptian when he was using his Zeus list here, just because it's very grindy. You have that late game and go with the Poseidon if you go super late, and just Phantom Grasping like a Foth or like a really big Sobek, for example, it can be a game changer in that matchup.
Well, I think it's also really interesting is he also doesn't pack the Ares, and he does pack an Afro. Like both of those, I would actually not put in my deck. I mean, no, actually, no. I put Ares, and I'm not sure if I pack an Afro. But then again, obviously, I'm not a tournament player even. So, like, do you think he was justified putting the Afro in, and I guess not putting an Ares in? Because, like, I mean, obviously it worked, but like, I guess on paper, it seems really nice to have that Ares in your deck.
Yeah, I agree, but like maybe he like the Aphrodite for one is just there against the Norse and was the Beast War decks just to have that extra trade maybe happen just because you get the two shield on like Arachne or Asila, for example, or something like that. That might be just by way it's only one in there.
Yeah, I think Afro's transitioned from being a mainstay, you need this card in your deck, to now it's much more of a tech card. So obviously, packing the Ganesh and Ra are both fairly standard. And then I guess moving on, I guess I want to take another look at at Tomov's decks. So, is there anything that jumps out at you immediately about this, about about what Tomov packs?
No, it was pretty standard from what we saw during the tournament. It was Beast War, Aggro Odin, and then a Ra, controlled Ra, and a Ganesh that basically everybody brought, and probably didn't get that play to play that much. So the only thing I can see is like he was running Invigorate in his Beast War deck. Do not think that was a common pick in the other cases.
Yeah, I think Beast Raw, like when I think I was actually casting it, it took me a surprise, and I was like, "Whoa, bro, what you doing? What you doing?" But I mean, it worked out obviously pretty well, and that I was like thinking that may be a reason why he packs it, because sometimes that surprise factor is really important. Like we see it in nearly any competitive video game, whether you're talking about like some sort of Smash or like a battle royale or this any game. It is that aspect of let me counter what my opponent predicts. So like, if I say, oh, he has a Raw left, let me go my slow and steady deck against it, and then you're like, joke's on you, I got Beast Raw. Maybe that's what he was trying to go with.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know really what he was doing. Is just like it looks kind of standard to me. Just two Emperor's Prize as well. Just that extra card draw. I do not believe we saw that many Emperor's Prize in the other people decks.
I may have been wrong about the Beast Raw. Yeah, sorry guys. Taking a look at the further list, I was like, because I don't know, for some reason I thought I saw a hyena in there, and I'm like, there's no hyena. There is no hyena. feels debated, man. Well, obviously, I think the double Sunder is fairly interesting because we don't like. I've seen Sunder more, but I just don't like it. Do you like Sunder in your decks?
No, I do not. But I believe it was either was Arlo or Mess. Someone from the duelist community came in. It's like 2 mana or 1 mana, 2 damage. That's broken.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not put this in your deck? And well, most people that's been playing Hand of the Gods for a long time has gone away from Sunder. But I mean, it might come back now with there's 2 aggressive meta decks. So you might need that really early removal spell on like a Hyena that they play on turn 1. So it might be coming back.
One really interesting, like I guess, lack of cards that we see in Tomov's Odin deck is only runs one Runestone of Ire. Like I don't get that at all. I think I always joke around calling it the Runestone of Balance. So on that note, do you like why is he not running 2 Runestone?
I actually seen a lot of lists that's only running 1 Runestone. Actually, just because
Really?
you still have but you see he's going a little bit. He has double War Behemoth, so he has the card draw to keep
Okay.
up like in cards anyway. So like you still want to just play Runestone on turn 3 or at like turn 8. So if you don't have it on turn 3, then you might as well just wait and get that charged Emir, or like you see his double Tusky, like a charged Tusky or Poisonous Hydra later in the game anyway. So that's what I would think at least.
I mean honestly again, like I think it's too good of a card to have one in your deck because I think because again when you have one of a single card in your deck, it makes it more like a tech card, and I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to tech Runestone in, I'm trying to make Runestone in. But I mean, it did work for him, so I guess kudos on that level. The last person's deck I do really want to go over is, I mean, between Unscathed and Stoof, you know I want to go Unscathed, but I'll throw you a bone here, and I just wanted to, I guess, do a quick glance over any of Stoof's decks, because he's also packing the Zeus. But hold up, he's packing Purification!
Yeah, we actually saw him use this to great effect against, I believe, a Roman list.
Wait, now real quick, to any viewers who don't know, it's a 0-cost Zeus spell that gives any unit, any targetable unit, +2 or +0 2, and cleanses all CC from them. So it cleanses Terra stuns, cleanses Cupid stuns, cleanses Anubis roots, and items like that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and he basically got Terra stunned in one of the rows, and just that doesn't matter. I just gonna purification this and go and kill the Terra off. And it was like a huge tempo swing in the game because he had 2 units done, and then it's like, no, I have 1, and I still have board control after that. Because the only thing he could play at that turn, it was phenomenal to see, and I believe you should watch the names here. So he has Tourney Beard, Tourney Babe, and Tourney Bolt. And then Ganesh doesn't have a Tourney name. What the hell, Steve?
I just noticed that too. Maybe because they never expecting to play Ganesh or something on that level. So, guys, obviously that was the tournament recap. So I guess real quick, do you think Hindu's still gonna be banned this next upcoming tournament, or do you think people are gonna try to like actually try to get play in against it?
I think it's gonna see more play now. We saw a lot of Beastwa doing very well in the last tournament, and I think that might be one of the decks that you have to ban out, just because it's so strong. And we did see a small nerf to the aspect of life getting that mana increase, so it's probably gonna be available again. But as Mess said before, it's a lot of value, and Kali is one of the more broken cards in the game. It's so strong. So we'll see.
Yeah, obviously I'm really excited for tomorrow, which is just a little quick reminder to any of you guys watching. Remember that Smite Prime does in fact cast the lowers bracket. So you have people like myself, Simbreed, Shifu, Cute Noob, RML, like all possible casting a set. So if you guys want to check out the lower bracket, make sure you guys watch us tomorrow because like we're like airing at the same time that the official Hand of the Gods channel is airing the winners bracket. So we already talked a bit about the patch that dropped, primarily the two new cards, which obviously are fairly interesting and exciting. And I think we kind of stopped on Fafnir before I'm like, whoa, can't get into this just yet. So could you shed some more light on Fafnir for us?
Yeah, so it's very, very interesting that it's a 5/5 and like it comes down so fast, but it does have that deck restriction on you. So you have to be that super aggro. So I believe we're gonna see what's it called, the token strategy, like the super rush all in Odin. That's gonna be like the shell you want for that card, and then we might see with Curse Dragon like a mid range. Like I'm hopefully kind of brings out something so we all can get a good deck list for that.
Because like on my end, it seems like Fafnir is one of those cards. If you have him in your opening hand, you win the game. But if you don't, that restriction hurts you so much. I think it almost loses you the game. Cause like that's that's the way I see it. So like just sheerly because obviously on the 3 mana curve, right? Fafnir is extremely hard to deal with unless you're running like Doom Speakers, which then take 3 of his health away, and then you do like some Judgment or Thanatos or again yada yada yada. So on like, would you put Fafnir in your deck? Obviously, you have to build a deck kind of around Fafnir, but would you still put him in your deck?
If I went for like an all-in Norse strategy, probably. But for me personally, if I would bring a Norse deck, it would probably be more of a mid-range strategy. So, but it's like it's a very good card, and I haven't really played around with it yet. So, you never know.
Yeah. So last week, or last patch, I'm a real talk. I'm not gonna lie. The Gauntlets kicked my butt. Not great. I didn't have a whole lot of time to play them. I played them a couple times each. I think. I may have actually missed one, but that's beyond the point. We got a new wave of gauntlets for you guys, and obviously you've been playing them, but now it's our time to give you the greatest reflection of all time. A lot of time there. So, Mortality Gauntlet 1. Players can only use decks that include only cards from the neutral pantheon. What?
Yeah, sorry, Zeus, you're not seeing any play in this one.
I was fiddling around with it, and it seemed a lot like, hey, if you get Luranian on curve, you win the game because there are no spells. You know that no spell almost brings you back to a day when Sunder and Fire Imp were in every single deck because that was back when spells were in the neutral pantheon. Or there were spells in the neutral pantheon, but now we don't have that anymore. So there's just no spells in this entire gauntlet. So I guess do you have any tips for players going into this gauntlet?
Yeah, play Xiaofangs, play Stone Guardians. Those cards on curve they're so good. They're going to win you games.
It's just so hard to get rid of the Stone Guardians. Like it's funny because I'm like, okay, I'll include 2 Xiaofangs and a Stone Guardian, and every single, gosh forbid, 4 mana curve. It's always a Chow Fang or it's always a Stone Guardian. Now, arguably, I think Stone Guardian is probably a bit better, but Chow Fang can still steamroll you if you don't get that ranged unit when you need to. So, obviously, Chow Fangs. And I will say, the reward, Cutesy Medusa icon. Like, of all the icons, I really like Cutesy Medusa. I mean, obviously, my favorite would be like Cutesy's Nami or Cutesy Nox, my favorite characters, but, I mean, is Cutesy Medusa worth the pain and suffering of finding 500 Chow Fangs against you?
I don't know. To be honest, I went through the hardship of playing in the one we could only play Egyptian or Chinese. I went through 7 raw mirrors for my Cutesy stat. It wasn't worth it. But I got it, and I'm happy now that I got it. But like, it was such a grind.
So, I then for myself on the mortality, I got fairly far. I got to like 7. I think I got to 6, 7 wins, and then I had a Stone Guardian wipe my entire squad. And he also had like a bunch of chieftains. I think he was playing Norse, but on that unfortunate note, the next gauntlet is Grand Melee. Players can only queue with decks that have spells and melee units. Oh goodness gracious, Sinbreed. Have you played this one yet?
No, I have actually not played this one yet. It's the only one I haven't played yet.
I haven't
think
myself, but
it's
I've had
open right
people
now.
who have. Is it?
I think it's in rotation right now.
It may be. Well, yeah. All I know is I think it was open when winning my mortality, but regardless, that was a rough. I had some friends who talked about it, and they said it was a lot of Chow Fangs. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed you have Chow Fangs in this? But obviously, it does the cutesy Thor though. Like, there's nothing more adorable than seeing a little, like, because obviously this comes from his tier 5 skin. If you guys were wearing back in Smite, there's nothing more adorable than seeing a chibi Thor, is there?
Well, I've seen cuter. I have to say Scotty is just my favorite, man. Scotty, I wanted Scotty so bad,
Like,
but
I like Scotty, but the juxtaposition between her cuteness of the avatar versus the rage I feel my opponent plays her on turn 3 is too much for me, man. I just can't do it. I'm just like, like I just wanna, I hate Scotty. Okay. Well, I think this is the weekend series, but obviously we'll go into that more often. Or I guess we're about to go into it. Pantheon Wars. Players can only queue with all Greek or Roman cards. All other pantheons are not allowed in this queue, nor neutral cards. This one I'm excited to do. This one seems extremely fun.
actually it is.
It
I
is?
played
Oh, I haven't played it.
4 games, I think. I got 3 wins and then I got knocked out.
Yeah.
And like I like Zeus. That's probably why I enjoy it. There's a lot of Zeus mirrors.
I think the Zeus
here.
is fun. Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's just I feel like it becomes whoever gets the perfect curve, right?
Yeah, and I think that Zeus has an advantage just because he has shock and aim, so you have silence effects. And Roman, I believe, did not have any in their pantheon, so Roman is still a powerful pantheon, but I think you need some of the neutral cards to make it into that really good deck. Well, Greek, you just put all the gods in that you can and just hope for the best.
Obviously, and fittingly, Cutesy Arachne is the icon. Now, actually, a cool little bit of backstory to this icon, real quick. It was only available in the Spring Fling of last year, so at least that was for Smite. So this is actually a very, very rarely seen cutesy icon. Obviously, it was put into the chest, which you could get in regular game of Smite, because this game originates from Smite. But the cutesy Arachne, I think, is underrated. I actually like it a lot. I think it's kind of weird, but I've loved Arachne ever since she was a 5/5 that spawned one once. I loved Arachne since she spawned 0/1s that when you activated her ability, they had taunt. That's how old I love Arachne. So obviously, I'm gonna try to get that get those 8 wins today, or I guess tomorrow today, all of them. And the last one is Triple Thread. I think it's a threat. But hey, typos happen. Map includes only 3 rows of playable tiles. All normal decks are allowed. Have you touched this Have you touched this gauntlet yet?
I have not dared to do it because I have no idea what kind of deck I want to build because this is so weird. But still, I love it because it's very different from all the other gauntlets that we've seen so far. So I'm actually excited for it, but I want to see some streams and see how it plays out before I go into the gauntlet myself.
I feel like this is a high quality Smork fest.
Probably.
But I could be wrong. And then Cutesy Neath, which actually I'm not a big fan of, but hey, Neath is always fun. So we did get some UI updates that weren't exactly received the best, I would say. So I guess what were your thoughts on the UI updates?
Well, I think at first they were really weird, but like you get used to
Yeah.
it. Like it felt very zoomed in when you just like the first game was like, wow, okay. I want to zoom in, zoom out a bit, but like you, as I said, you get used to it. It's just like, yeah, I wish my opponent just keep track of my cutesy avatar more because it's hard to see now. Like you want to show off your avatars
Yeah.
or icons now, and I think they should do something with that differently.
Yeah. I mean, all I would say, guys, is real quick on that topic, because I know to pretty much the majority of people watching, a lot of people don't like the UI changes. If you want to let people know or let Hi-Rez know about your suggestions, I think they actually added a UI suggestions tab in the Discord, which is really, really good. But the last thing you should ever do, because I've seen some people do this, and it's not what you want to do. So do not rant and moan about it. Like, I guess in this sense, just understand that at the end of the day, people like developers don't always go in the best direction sometimes. Sometimes, like, there's a little bit of backlash. So just monitor and be respectful to the people who are too high res, especially when you're saying, hey, I think we should suggest this, and not say, hey, you messed up big time, buddy. On that note, though, we did see a nerf, a sizable nerf, to aspect of life. Card increased from 2 to 4. Do you think that was enough for it, Simbreed, or?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it's just a really good card. Before it was
Yeah.
busted. Like there was nothing else to say about it. It was just busted.
Yeah, I'm still conflicted on double collies, for being honest. So I don't know. Obviously, only time will tell, and the tournament will tell tomorrow, which is again being casted. At least the lower bracket's being casted by Smite Primes. Make sure you guys check us out if you want to see the lower bracket. So now we are so like as we're concluding to the end of the show. Just real quickly, Simber, you want to give me a recap of everything we've talked about? We've talked about a lot, but just I guess the major points of today's show.
Okay, so we've gone over the brackets. We talked to Mez, which was very delightful.
It was always interesting to get inside such a successful player's mind, you know?
Yeah, coming from Duelist, transferring over and just kicking ass in the tournament scene over here. We had Comcast do some bad jokes as well.
Oh, okay, come on, that's rude.
No. We went over the gauntlet and some patch notes.
And one thing I actually forgot to mention, which is criminal of me, I apologize, but the third qualifiers, which are tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Will actually be run with Extra Life, which is a awesome foundation and support. Like I guess just like for medical support, obviously I'm not extremely familiar with it, but make sure you guys while you're watching tomorrow, make sure you guys support them however best you can. I'm assuming all donations and bits and all the money you conjure up will be sent to Extra Life. So make sure you guys support them the best you can. Obviously, more details are available on Twitter, so make sure you guys follow Smite Prime on Twitter, and you make sure you follow Hand of the Gods on Twitter. And like I said before, the qualifiers 3 and 4 will be this weekend. Simbreed, last thoughts on the qualifiers for today and tomorrow.
Well, I'm really interested to see if Necropain actually can make another deep run in the tournament.
Oh yeah, true.
Because he went far both of those tournaments, so that's gonna be interesting. And to see how my boy Stoof does. Rooting for you, buddy, and also for Kenneth, as well.
Yeah. And actually, I just got quickly updated that it actually supports the local Children's Miracle Network, which is a fantastic organization. So you guys, come on, reach down and grab those pennies and throw them out as bits. You guys got this. For myself, I am excited to see my boys, obviously, Phaser and Unscathed, make the runs and hopefully bring back a little bit of the dubs. So obviously, this is I think this is as the show's coming to end. Just real quick, alongside me is my boy Simbreed. Make sure you guys follow his Twitch and Twitter. Now, Simbreed, your Twitch is weird, isn't it? Like Simbread.
Yeah, Simbreed was taken, man. What do you want me to do?
Follow our breadbasket over here, Sinbreed. And if you guys want to show, now obviously myself as a Comcast employee, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Myth Comcast. And if you want to follow me on Twitch, it's just a Comcast employee. I'll actually be streaming a bit later tonight. Just got to shoot a little plug in there. First thing we're
Be sure to watch.
Yeah, be sure to watch my amazing stream. But more importantly, make sure you guys follow this channel you're currently watching on, Smite Prime. It does Smite and a lot of Hand of the Gods action. You're gonna see all the tournaments here. And this is, if you want to get better at this game, you want to become a god, like myself. Make sure you guys follow and support Smite Prime, and make sure you guys follow him on Twitter, and make sure you guys also follow Talk of the Gods, which is this current talk show on Twitter. Final notes, everybody?
Awesome show. Looking forward to for tomorrow. And be sure to watch Comcast stream later on. It's really, really funny, actually.
Well, thanks. So this will be us signing out, and make sure y'all come back next week. Which will next week be on a Friday as well, Spring?
I believe so, yes.
It will be on next Friday. So make sure you guys tune in then. As for now, I'll see you guys. Well, I will see you guys. I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.